So welcome everyone. You're welcome to EduMath Hub. Okay. So you're all welcome. Good day. How is everyone doing? Hope you're all fine. So today we'll be talking about inequalities, which is one of the topics in the JAM syllabus. Okay. This is just a general quick revision for inequalities. And if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Okay. So let us get right into the topic real quick. So for inequalities, the first thing you need to consider, you need to know about the symbols that are using for inequalities. You need to know about the symbols. Okay. Now for these symbols, you have this, you have this, you have this, and you have this. Now these symbols have different meanings, so you need to know the meanings of these symbols first of all. So let's get into the meanings of the symbols. Now the first one is this symbol here stands for less than. This is less than. Okay. Then this is greater than. This is less than or equal to, and this one is greater than or equal to. Okay, so you need to know how these symbols operate, okay, or what these symbols mean. Now let me just quickly show you what they mean. The first one, you have less than. When you have, if something is less than, then it means that it's not up to that particular value. For example, if you have t less than 5, that means the values of t are from negative infinity, or there are negative numbers up to 4. I'm assuming that t is an integer. Okay, so if t is an integer, the value of t, these values of t, you can have values of t as, you can have t equals to 4, you can have t equals to 3, t equals to 2, and so on. You need numbers that are less than 5. Okay, but if in the case that t is greater than 5, that means, and t is an integer, that means t should start from 6 upwards. So you need numbers that are bigger than 6, sorry, that are bigger than 5. So the values of t can be 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Okay, so that's about less than and greater than. Now for this symbol, for this symbol which is called less than or greater than, let me assume x is less than or equals to 9. So it means that what you need, the values of x can be numbers that are exactly 9 and below, okay, because it is less than or equal to. So the first value is 9, so it will start from 9, then it can be going down like that, 8, 7, 6, 5, and so on. So these are the values of x, because s is less than or equal to 9. But in this case here, in this one, as this particular case, we have greater than, if x is greater than or equals to 9. So in this case, s is 9 greater than or equals to 9. So s will start from 9, and it can be 10, then 11, 12, and so on. So this one means at least 9. This is at least 9. You need 9 and above. 9 and above. But for this one, x less than 9, you need, this is called, you can just call it at most 9. That means you cannot go beyond 9. So it starts from 9 and it starts, going down like that. Okay, so that's how you use the inequality symbol. So you need to know how these symbols operate. So that's about that. Now let me quickly tell you how to combine these symbols. Okay, these symbols can be combined. Take for example the first one, you can have x less than 8. This is just a single variable, x less than 8. You can also have 8 less than x less than maybe 12. This case here, it means that 8 is less than x. If 8 is less than x, that means x is bigger than 8. Okay, that's just a simple analogy. Okay, 8 is less than x, that means x is bigger than 8. But that same value of x is less than 12. So we need numbers that are greater than 8 but less than 12. So in this case, x can be 9, 10, 11. You can see 11 is less than 12. So the values of x can be 9, 10, 11. Okay. You can also look, it can also be like this. You can also have something like this, where you have y greater than z, okay, let me say x greater than z. So it means that the value of y, is bigger than x, and x is bigger than z. Now, this is a simple analogy. If that has been y is 12, this value of y is bigger than the value of x. So if y is 12, let's say x is 6, then this 6, which is x, is bigger than z. So z can be like 4. So you can see the trend. So you have 12 greater than 6 and 6 greater than 4. So that's how you combine these inequalities. But you have to take note of this one very well. Take note of this, how you combine these inequalities. This is like the lower limit, this is the upper limit. Now let me just quickly do a different scenario of this one. It can also look like this. You have, let me say, minus 2 less than equals to x less than equals to 5. You can see this sign here, less than equals to. Don't forget what I explained earlier. So the values of x is starting from minus 2. Okay, starting from minus 2, because it is less than or equals to. So since minus 2 is less than or equals to x, minus 2 is less than or equals to x, that means x is bigger than it. So if you check your number line, if you look at your number line, this place is 0, this is minus 1 here, this is minus 2. The numbers here are increasing in this direction, and they are decreasing in this direction. So minus 1 is bigger than minus 2. Okay, so the first number that is bigger than minus 2 is minus 1. So after minus 2, you write minus 1. These are the values of x. Then you can write 0, 1, 2, 3. Then you stop at 4, then 5. 5 because you have less than or equals to 5. So you cannot go beyond 5. So these are the values of x. Okay, now let's go into how to represent inequalities. Okay, so welcome back. So this is the next part of the topic. So we'll be looking at how to represent inequalities on a number line. So the first one, you have x less than 5. So it's very simple. Just draw a number line. For this one, just draw your number line. So you draw your number line. So you mark 0 there. Then you mark 5. Okay, then you look at the arrow. The arrow is pointing left. Okay, less than 5 is pointing left. So you just go to your 5. This is 5 here. This is x-axis here. So you go to 5. Mark, push it up there. Draw an arrow, a line going up. Then draw a circle here. Then you draw an arrow facing in this direction. Then you have x less than 5 here. Okay, so that's the answer to that one. This is an open interval. This, you will not shade this part here. It will not be shaded because 5 is not included. Now let's check the second one. For this second one, you have, for this one, you draw your line like this. So you draw it, for this one, you draw it like this. So you have 3. So this 0 is here. So 3 is around here. So but this interval will be shaded because 3 is involved. So you push this line up, shade this part. Then you look at the direction of the arrows going left like this. So then you draw your line like this. Then you write x less than or equals to 3 on the line. Then for this one is very straightforward. You just draw a straight line. Draw a straight line, sorry. So you draw a straight line. You are told that x is greater than 8. So just draw a straight line. Draw a straight line. This is 0 here and this is 8. This is an open interval, so don't shade it. So just to look like this circle, don't shade the circle because it's not greater than or equals to. Then the arrow will just point to the right because you can see this arrow is pointing in this direction. Then you write x greater than 8 here. Then let me quickly do the remaining 2. For this one, for this particular one, you draw your normal line to your horizontal line. So you mark 0. This part here is minus 2, which is on the left of 0. Then you have 6 here. Now this is a closed interval, don't forget. So you shade this part, it will be shaded. Then you go to 6. This is 6, but don't shade this part. It will be just a circle because this part is an open interval because 6 is not involved in the answer. So the values of x lies in between these 2 points. X is bigger than minus 2, but x is less than 6. So you just join these two lines together like this. Then you write on top of the line, you write minus 2 less than or equals to x less than 6. So that's how you do represent number inequalities on number line. Very simple, very simple. Let's do the last one. For this one, you just draw your line. So you need 4 and 9. Let me assume 0 is here, so 4 is here, and 9 is here. So this is a closed interval. So you shade it, shade here, go to 9. You also shade it too. Then you join the middle like that. Then you write 4 less than or equals to y less than or equals to 9. Okay, so that's how you represent inequalities on number line. Very simple. Now let's move on to the next part. So welcome back. So let me teach you this what's on the screen right now, the addition and subtraction rule of inequality. Okay, so it's very simple. By the end of this section, you're going to understand it much better. So let's assume you have an inequality like x is greater than y. Okay, so x could be any number. X could be 5. Then let's pick a number that is less than 5. Let's say 3. So this addition or subtraction rule of inequality is just saying that anything you add to this left hand side, anything you add to this side, or anything you subtract from this side, and you do the same operation here, this inequality will still be obeyed. Let's assume I subtract 2 from the left hand side. That will be 5 minus 2. Then I'll still have this greater than sign. Then I'll do the same thing here, 3 minus 2. 5 minus 2 will give you 3. 3 minus 2 will give you 1. You can see that the operation of greater than still applies. So no matter what you do on this left hand side, as far as you are doing that same operation on the right hand side, this sign will remain constant. It cannot change. Okay, it will remain this way. So that is the addition and subtraction rule of inequality. So let me just do it like this. You have x greater than y. So if you add anything to this y, to this x rather, this sign will still be obeyed, and you still add the same thing here. So no matter what you add or subtract from this left hand side, this sign cannot change. It will remain the same. Okay, but there's a difference when you talk about the multiplication and division rule of inequality. This one is a bit different. If you have x, for example, if you have minus 2x is equals to greater than 8. Okay, in inequality, to find the value of x at this point, you have to divide both sides by minus 2. Okay, so at the end of the day, this sign, this 2 will cut out like this. So you have x, but this greater than will now reverse itself. It will change because you are dividing by a negative constant. So the answer will be 8 divided by 2, that will give you minus 4. So this is what the answer will be. You can see that the less than sign has, the greater than sign has changed to less than. So anytime you are dividing by a negative number or you are multiplying by a negative number, the sign will change. Please keep that in mind. Okay, so after solving maybe a question on inequality, and at the end of the day you are arriving at maybe minus 10y equals to 15, less than or equals to 15. So for you to get y, you must divide both sides by minus 10. Now since you are dividing by minus 10, this sign will change to the opposite form. Then you can now have 15 divided by 10, that will give you minus 1.5. So take note of that. So that's the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division rule of inequality. The addition law is saying that, or it states that the sign won't change irrespective of what you add to the left or the right hand side. Whether you subtract or you add, this sign will still remain the same. But for multiplication rule or division rule, anytime you divide or multiply by a negative constant, the sign will reverse itself. If it was less than, it will become greater than. If it's less than or equals to, it will become greater than or equals to. So it must reverse itself. Okay, hope you all understand. Now let's move on to the next part. So welcome back to EduMath. If you're just joining us and you haven't subscribed, please try and do that. Okay, subscribe to our channel so you can enjoy more videos like this. So we are just on the next part. next part of the topic, which is solving inequalities. So I'm going to teach you how to solve inequalities now. Okay, now when you are solving inequalities, it's very simple. All you have to do is treat this sign, as you treat the equal sign. Okay, just treat it normally. Okay, it follows the same operation with respect to the equal sign. So let's quickly solve this now. To find the value of x, in this case, maybe to find the value of x and to represent it on the number line. Now what you're going to do is, this is 4 minus 3x less than or equals to 10. First of all, take this 4, bring this 4 to this side. Okay, if you do that, you have minus 3x remains here, so you have minus 3x. This 4 is coming here, so you have less than 10 minus 4, then minus 3x less than 10 minus 4 will give you 6. Then you are dividing both. You want to find the value of x. Okay, so we have minus 3x less than or equals to 6, so we divide both sides by minus 3. Please divide both sides by minus 3, not 3. Divide both sides by minus 3. So this 2 will cut out, so it remains x here. Then you have x, this one will cut out, you have minus. This sign will now reverse itself. Okay, this sign, because you are dividing by the negative constant, which is the division rule of inequality. So this sign will change direction to face like this. Then here you have minus 2. Okay, now if you put it on a number line, it will look like this. If you put it on a number line, it will look like this. So you just have a straight line. You have 0, then minus 2 is around here. So you put this, draw this line up, then you shade it. You're shading it because it's a closed interval. You can see that it is greater than or equals to. Then this arrow this sign is pointing like this. So you draw this line like this. And you write x greater than minus 2. Okay, now that's how you solve inequalities. Let's take another example so you can have a solid understanding. So you have this question here: 4 minus 3 into x minus 1 is less than 13. So you have to find the value of x. Okay, so what you do is, you first of all expand this bracket. Okay, expand it. So you have 4 minus 3 times x, that will give you 3x, minus times minus, that will give you plus, 3 times 1, that will give you 3. Then you have less than 13. The next thing to do is to take the like terms. 4 plus 3 will give you 7. 4 plus 3 will give you 7. Okay, this is 7 minus 3x less than 13. Then minus 3x, leave it where it is. Bring this 7, bring it to this side. So you have minus 3x less than 13 minus 7. So you have minus 3x less than 13 minus 7 will give you 6. So you're dividing both sides by minus 3. So this cuts this. So this will give you 2. Finally, on the left hand side, you're left with x. Then this sign will change direction because you're dividing by minus 3. And this one will give you minus 2. It quickly represents that. It will look like this is minus 2 here. Bring it up. You don't shade it. Don't shade it because this is just greater than. Then look at the direction of the arrow. Draw it like this. Okay. Then on this line, you write out x greater than minus 2. So inequalities are very easy to solve as far as you remember the basic process of solving simple equations. Let's take the last one. The last one goes like this. You have 12 greater than or equals to 3 into 2y minus 3. So let's quickly solve this. You have to expand this part. Okay, so you have 12 greater than or equals to, you have 3 times 2, that will give you 6y minus, this minus is this minus. Okay, 3 times 3, you have 9. So you take the like terms, bring your 9 to this side. So you have 12 plus, this 9 becomes plus when it gets here, plus 9 greater than 6y. 12 plus 9 will give us 21 greater than or equals to 6y. From this point, you divide both sides by 6. Okay, so then if you cut this out, you get 7 over 2. 7 over 2. Okay, so you have 7 over 2 greater than, then here you have y. So you can leave your answer like this, but to make it smoother, you put the value of y on the left hand side. So if you are putting the value of y on the left hand side, this sign will reverse to change direction like this. Sorry, to look like this, to change direction, 7 over 2. Okay, so don't forget your answers in inequalities, the variable itself must be on the left hand side. For example, if you are solving a question on inequality and your variable happens to be on the right, like maybe you have 3 greater than x as the last answer, you cannot leave it like this. You have to put this x on the right, put this x on the right, so it will be x, then this sign will reverse, becomes less than, then 3 here. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Most of the times you will not see this one in the option, but this is the correct form. Okay, so thank you for watching this video up to this point. If you are still with us, please like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. So you're welcome back. So let's quickly look at quadratic inequalities. Okay, quadratic inequalities. Inequalities can also be in quadratic form, and a quadratic equation has this form. Okay, it looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. This is the general form of a quadratic equation, but you don't need to worry yourself much. Now let's start like this. Let me give you an example. Okay, now this example is x squared. Sorry, the example is x squared less than 1. Okay, so you have to find and represent the value of x. You have to solve this and represent the values of x that obey this inequality. Don't forget, any equation that has power of 2 is a quadratic equation. Any equation that has a power of 2, as far as the power of the unknown variable is 2, that equation is a quadratic equation. And the quadratic equation will have 2 roots. Okay, you have 2 roots or 2 answers. Now let's start with the solution of this question. To solve this, you have x squared less than 1. The first thing to do is bring this 1 to this side, so you have x squared minus 1 less than, since this one is living here, so you have 0 here. Now at this point, you use difference of 2 squares to factorize this side. Don't forget difference of 2 squares. Okay, now factorize this left hand side. You have x minus 1, x plus 1 less than 0. So now at this point, your answers can be obtained easily without stressing yourself. All you have to do is sketch this inequality. You have to sketch this thing. It's very simple to sketch. All quadratic equations have this form. They look like this. They either look like a U shape or they look like an N shape. They look like a U shape if they have a positive coefficient for x squared. Okay, this one is for positive coefficient, this one is for negative coefficient. If you look at this question here, the x squared is positive. Okay, it's positive, so our graph we have a U shape like this, and it's very, very simple. What you're going to do at this point is just draw a line, 2 straight lines. Draw this line down, draw this line down like this. This is the x-axis here. So this is minus 1. Minus 1, you look for the opposite of minus 1, that is 1. So you mark 1 here. This is 1. This is plus 1. The opposite of plus 1 will be minus 1. That's minus 1. Then you put a star here. This is just a sketch, a star here. Then you draw a U shape that will cut both of them, just like this. At this point, you've already gotten the answer. Now they're asking you that this equation is less than 0. So they're trying to ask you that which part of this graph is below this axis. This is like a normal ground level. Okay, normal ground level, this part. So they're asking you that less than 0, which part of this graph or which region of this graph is below this line, is underground, as in this part. They're asking for this part. So you can see that this part is kind of long. It's from -1 to 1. So the answer to this question will be -1 less than x less than 1. Straight up. Okay, so that's the region of the graph that will satisfy this equation. You can see that all the values of this equation at this point, they are negative because the graph is below this axis. Okay, now let's take another example so you can understand it better. Look at this second example here. You have to find the region satisfied by this equation. Okay, so you have to find the values for x. So it's simple method. It has already been factorized for you. After this example, I'll give you an example that is not factorized. So this one is just draw two vertical lines. Okay, just two vertical lines. Then -4, the opposite of -4 will give you 4. Opposite of +1 will give you -1. So this is x-axis here. This is x-axis. Okay. Now the next thing to do is to draw a U shape. You now draw a U shape. That U shape will pass through -1 and 4. So if you draw the U shape, it will look like this. So this will be a U shape going like this, passing through -1 and 4. Okay, so they are asking you that greater than 0 now. They are not asking for less than 0. Assuming it was less than 0, it will be this region. This is the part of the graph that is below the x-axis, this region. But they're asking you for greater than 0. That's they're asking for the point of the graph that is above this line, above this axis. Okay, from here up. That's what they're asking. They're not asking you from here down. If it's from here down, then it will be less than 0. But what they ask is greater than 0. So it has to be from here up. Every value from here up. So if you look at this graph, it was negative like this, going like this, negative, negative. By the time it gets here, it rises out of the ground and it starts to become positive. So at any value of x greater than 4, it will be positive. So you have x greater than or equals to 4. Then at this point, the graph was positive before. By the time you get here, it becomes negative. Negative because it is under the x-axis now. Here is positive because it's above the x-axis. So at this point, it was positive. So at this point, anything less than -1, anything to this side, anything from this side is positive for this graph. So here you have x less than -1. Don't forget that if you have your number line like this, and here is -2, sorry, here is 0, and here is -2, for example, this -2 is less than -1. Don't forget, it's less than -1. Even -10 around somewhere here is less than -1. -1 is bigger than -100. So don't forget, take note. So this part is less than, this part is greater than, less than, greater than. So the two regions for the solution of this question will now be written like this. You cannot join them together, you cannot pair them, but you have to write them separately. So this is how the answer will be. So you have x less than or equals to -1, or x greater than or equals to 4. You can see from this part it becomes positive, and from this part it becomes positive too, above 0. So this is the answer to that question. Now I'm going to take a final example, and this example will be an example that is not factorized, so you have to be the one to factorize it. At times it comes out like this in your JAMB. Okay, so please like and subscribe to our channel if you are still with us. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching. Now let's move to the next one. You have x squared minus 2x minus 3 greater than 0. Okay, let me just do less than 0. Let me do greater than 0. Now the first thing to do, you can see that this graph is not, this equation rather doesn't be factorized. You need to factorize it. So to factorize the quadratic equation is very simple. This is the product term, this is the addition term. So you just look for two numbers that if you times, you get 3, and if you add or subtract, you get 2. So those numbers will be 3 and 1. 3 and 1. Okay, now let's give it the proper signs. Now this is the middle term. This is the middle term. This middle term, give it to the bigger number. This is 3 and 1. 3 is the bigger one, so give it minus. Then do minus times plus. Sorry, do minus times minus. That will give you plus. Give it to the smaller one. So we have minus 3 and plus 1, minus 3 and plus 1. Don't forget this middle sign, this middle term, the sign of this middle term, we go for the bigger factor. Why? Minus times minus plus, go for the smaller one. Now to factorize this, don't write this one again. You're going to write minus 3x and 1x, or x. So you now write x squared. Don't write this again. So you have minus 3x plus x minus 3. Now you can rearrange it, bring this x to be closer to this one. So you have x squared plus x, then bring this one to be closer to this one, minus 3x minus 3. Then you factorize it. So don't forget, everything we are doing is greater than 0. Then from here, just check what is common. Very simple, very simple. Check what is common. So here, x is common here, as you can see. So when x comes out here, you have x plus 1 minus, this minus is this minus. This minus is this minus here. Then 3 is common here. So you have x minus times minus, that will give you plus. 3 divided by 3, that will give you 1. To confirm if you are correct, this term and this term will be the same. Then you pick the outside ones. So you have x minus 3. Then pick one of these two, x plus 1. You have greater than or equals to 0. So from here, we are back to how the previous examples were. Consider they are already in factorized form. So just do a little sketch real quick. Don't waste your time. Just do a little sketch. Now this sketch will help you to know the region satisfied by the graph. So these are our sketch here. Draw this one down. Draw this one down. So minus 3, opposite to minus 3, the opposite will be plus 3. So that will be here. Plus 1, the opposite will be minus 1. That will be here. Then quickly put a U shape. It's going to be a U shape. Now what they're asking you is greater than 0. Don't forget, they're asking you greater than 0. So they're just asking you for the part of the graph that is above this line. This is x-axis. They're asking you that which part of the graph is above this line. So it is anything bigger than 3 and anything less than minus 1. So your answer should just be x less than or equals to minus 1, or any number above 3, x greater than or equals to 3. So this should just be your answer. So this is how you represent quadratic inequalities. Very simple. Okay, if you have any challenge, please contact us and let us know your challenges. I hope you understand this section of inequalities. Now moving to the next section. So welcome to the last part of the video on inequalities. I'll be treating how to graph inequalities. Okay, how to graph inequalities. Very simple. Okay, so this is how we're going to approach this part. Let's take the first one. So you have 4x minus 3y less than 8. Okay, 4x minus 3y less than 8. Now to solve this, the first thing to do is to sketch this equation. And to sketch this equation, you need just 2 points. When x is equals to 0 and when y is equals to 0. So there are 2 points we need. So let's take it like this. You have 4x minus y less than 8. So we need 2 points. When x is 0, you look for y. When y is 0, you look for x. So x is 0, s is 0. Now let's look for y. So you put 0 here. So you have 4 into 0 minus y less than or equals to 8. Or you can just change this sign to equals to. So at the end of the day, you have minus y equals to 8. So when x is 0, y will give you minus 8. So we are doing our sketch at this point here. We are doing our sketch here. So when x is 0, this is x 0 here. X is 0 here. Minus 8 is down here. That's y. This is y. This is x. So we have this first point. Okay, we have this first point 1. Then the next point is to look for when y is 0. So let's quickly do that one here. When y is 0, so you come to this point here, come to this part and put y as 0. So you're going to have 4x minus, this is y, so you write out 0 there, equals to 8. So you have 4x equals to 8. Then from here you can have 8 divided by 4, so x is 2. So when y is 0, x is 2. So go to your graph. When y is 0, so these are our x-axis here. So at this point, y is 0, x is 2. So y is 0. Y is 0 here. Y is 0 at this point. So x is 2. So 2 will be around somewhere here. Then you have 2 points now. So these 2 points, join them with a straight line. This is the first point, this is the second point. Second point, first point. You join them with a straight line. So you join the 2 points like this. So this is the graph of that inequality. But we're not done yet. So after getting this graph, you have to show the region satisfied by the values of x. So after getting the graph, the next thing to do is to test for the point. You need to know which side of the graph will you shade. Are you going to shade this direction? Or are you going to shade this direction? So you need to know. So the best point to use is the origin. This is the location of the origin. This is where the origin is. This is the origin here. This is the origin. Okay, the center point here. So you need to know whether you are going to shade towards the origin or away from the origin. So you need to know those 2 things. Now to know the part you're going to shade, take the origin as a test point. Go to your equation and test the values there. Okay, now if you test the value there, this is the equation that we have. If you use the origin as a test point, anywhere you see x, you put 0, and anywhere you see y, you put 0. That's the origin, because the origin is x equals 0 and y equals 0. So go to this equation and put x equals 0 and y equals 0. We put x equals 0 here. 0 times 4 is 0, so you have 0 minus 0 less than 8. 0 minus 0 is 0, so you have 0 less than 8. Okay, you ask yourself, is 0 less than 8? So the answer is yes. So that means you're actually shading towards where the origin is. Okay, you're shading towards the origin. Then go to your graph, because the origin is involved. The origin obeys this equation. So you go to your graph and shade towards the origin. That means you're shading in this direction. This is where the origin is. So you're shading to where the origin is located. So you shade in this direction. So you shade like this. So this is the region satisfied by the inequality. I hope you understand. Okay, so another example, we extend it much better. So this is the part you're going to shade. You're going to shade all these parts here. So there are different ways of shading. You can shade with in dotted form, or you can shade with lines. So this is the region satisfied. Any point around this location will obey that inequality. Let's take the second example. Second example, maybe I'm very sure you're going to get it much better. So welcome back. This is the second example. So you want to graph this inequality. The first thing to do is to sketch this equation. So you need 2 points, when x is 0 and when y is 0. So let's say when x is 0, so you put 0 here. So you have 3 into 0 plus 2y. You can change this signs to equals to 12. This will give you 0. So you have 2y equals to 12. So from here, you can have y equals to 12 divided by 2. That will give you 6. So let's draw this line down. So when x is 0, this is x is 0, x as 0 here. This is x as 0. Then y is 6. 6 is up here. So this is 6. This is y axis. This is x axis. So this is our first point here. This is the first point. Okay, first point. Second point, we will obtain when you do when y is 0. So we are still using this equation. So when y is 0 now, come to this point and check when y is 0. So you have 3x plus, so put 0 here, now 2 to 0 equals to 12. Here will give you 3x equals to 12. So 12 divided by 3, that will give you 4. So when y is 0, x is 4. Move to your graph. When y is 0, x is 4. This is y as 0 here. So x is 4. Positive 4 is around here. So we mark 4 here. Mark 4. This is the second point. Then join it with a straight line like this. This is the equation of the line. This is the equation of the line. Sorry. This is the equation of the line. Now after getting this equation, we need to know where to shade. Are we shading this direction or like this, or are we shading like this? So you use your test point. Now for our test points, check the equation. This is the equation that we are given. This is the equation here. This is the equation. This is the equation here. So if you check the test points, you have 3x plus 2y greater than 12. If we use test point as the origin, that's 0, 0, which is the origin. So anywhere you see x, put 0. Anywhere you see y, put 0. At the end of the day, you will have, this will give you 0 plus, you have under 0, then greater than 12. Then you have 0 greater than 12. Then is 0 greater than 12? The answer is false. So that means you should not shade towards the origin. The origin does not satisfy this equation. The origin does not satisfy the equation. So the point where the origin is located, you have to shade away from it. So you go to your graph. This is our graph here. This is the graph here. So you shade away. Don't shade like, you're not shading like this. This is wrong, because this is where the origin is. Don't shade to this side. You have to shade away from it. So you're going to shade like this. Shade in this direction. Shade like this. This is how you're going to shade. Not in this way, because this is where the origin is located. So you have to shade it in this way. So you can shade using dots, 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 or depending on how you want to shade. Okay. Now there's something I forgot to tell you. Depending on this line, depending on this equation, if your equation is showing greater than, if it was greater than, this line should be dotted. This is your main equation line. It should be dotted. Okay, it should be like, it should be something like this, because it is greater than. So it will look like this. The true form will look like this. So you have this line, you have 6 here, and you have 4 here. So this line will be dotted. It will be broken line, and you now shade in this direction. So the reason why it's broken line is because it's an open interval. It's not shaded. It's not shaded. It's not greater than or equals to. So it's an open. So this line has to be broken. To be a broken line, not a continuous line like what I used. You understand? You understand the idea? Okay. Now, if it's greater than or equals to, like this, then you can use a tick. You can use a tick line throughout. But that's the idea of how to shade the graph. You need to know the test point. Okay, so that's just it. So you're welcome to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any question, please add it in the comment section. So this is a recap, just a short recap of inequalities for your JAMB examination or your WAEC or your NECO. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Okay, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. Remain blessed. Peace out.